The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Aereo, the best place to grow and manage your real estate media business online at aereo.com. That's ARYEO.com.
Hey everyone, before we get started today, I want to quickly tell you a little bit about Fotello. Fotello helps real estate media creators like us deliver perfect photos every single time. And hey, look, even if you aren't quite happy with one of those photos, they offer unlimited in-house revisions done within 6 hours. Fotello is an ethically sourced AI editor, meaning they used fully licensed images to train their AI. The prices are low. It's starting at $15 a listing. So this is as many photos as you want. It's per listing. So go to fotello.co right now and give it a try. It's free to try. That's FOTELLO.co. And look, if you decide you want to sign up, just tell them that, your pals at Upmarket sent you, and you are going to get a free month of service. That's fotello.co.
Coming to you from the Upmarket studio at Gasworks in beautiful San Buenaventura, California, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And Mark Corcoran woke up this morning so delighted to be recording a podcast, and here he is, sitting here.
I opened my eyes. I'm like, yes, it's pod day. Let's go.
It's pod day. I know Chelsea, who's producing off camera, is pretty happy too.
I am happy. I haven't been here in a while.
I know. Sorry about that, everyone. But we're gearing up. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pike for the rest of this year. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff rolling out. We've been teasing it for a bit, but it's coming like super soon.
It is. Yes. That is if we make it through this year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Really.
Will we still have a business by the end of the year? I think so. But I think the thing on a lot of people's minds right now, and we're recording this, what is it, the April 10th or something, 11th, is just kind of honestly not even the state of the world, but kind of the economics of what's happening in the United States and in other places. And we definitely don't want to get political here, but there's no denying that there's been a bit of chaos surrounding the stock market, and of course all the
just the tiny bit,
tiny bit, and with all the trade stuff. And I think while it seems like it doesn't really directly affect our industry, any like trade disputes, it kind of does, because it was very clear that the day that the tariffs, the big day that all the big tariffs were announced, from that press conference for like 5 straight days, we didn't get a single order.
Yeah. It was almost like everyone's in this kind of wait and see, like what is happening kind of mode of like, that's just
and so that was what, a week ago, 8 days ago. And then it's picked up in the last few days. We've gotten some orders, but man, it's April and the sun is shining, and this is when we got to make hay. Right. And so it's like,
this is usually when we're just crushing it every day, maxed out.
Yeah. And I mean, we're doing okay. It's not like it's total crickets, but man, like yesterday, I mean, we had like 2 shoots or something.
Yeah. And it's felt like this year so far, we've been like, kind of hitting the goals, and we've been doing better than last year. And it's felt like it's going to be another kind of amazing year. But now we're kind of riding this little bump in the roller coaster where it's like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah. And so I think, and I've heard, anecdotally from friends who have places on the market that it's not like, they're getting 100 offers like on the first day. And it's, the thing about it, whether you agree with the tariffs or not, and I mean, I can tend to not. I mean, most economists don't agree with them, and I'm going to go with them, I guess. And I feel like the one certainty about it is that it's uncertain. It's all chaos. And I think one of the things that our business advisor, Jeff, has always talked about is like, it is hard to plan for business with a ton of uncertainty.
Yeah. Well, nothing likes uncertainty, right? The stock market obviously doesn't like it. And it's like when we're in like a semi-luxury to luxury market. Yeah. People purchasing multi-million-dollar homes, the biggest investment of their lives. They're not going to just like jump into that unless they're kind of certain that things are on the right trajectory. And
no, exactly. And I'm not a homeowner, but I put myself in a homeowner's shoes. I know we know people who've listed their homes very recently, but like once that tariff announcement came, would I be necessarily putting my home on the market unless I didn't have to? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Chelsea?
I don't know. Who are you referring to?
I actually know a few people who put their houses on the market. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. We just listed our house. Yeah, we had to do it now just to get it going. And of course, it's really scary. It caused a lot of tension talking about it and trying to figure out if it's going to work. But ultimately, like, we have to do it now if we're going to do it. So we're just taking that risk.
Yeah, you're always trying to time it as a seller. Like, is now the best time to sell? Should I wait 3 months? Should I wait for summer? And there's no way to predict the market. But when, like you said, when there's that much uncertainty, you're like, this just feels like, rushed.
And I feel like for our industry, that is the biggest thing that is a barrier to us doing well, is uncertainty. Because I feel like if the housing market crashes or if it explodes, that's good for us either way. I think, we just need homes to come on the market.
Yeah.
And if people are holding back, then that's where that's when we have our bad year, like 2 years ago.
Right.
Like,
there's always like the people that need to sell, right? If they're a first time home buyer or a job or a death in the family or whatever, and that's always kind of the basis of us. But then it's like all these people that have a little bit of leeway when they can list, then they're the ones that are kind of like dragging us down.
Well, and that's what you have, like, Chelsea, right? Like, you're basically like, you feel like you have to. I mean,
I mean, now's the time if we're going to do it, just because, our son is going on to summer break soon, and it's the perfect transition year for us to do it. And
because you are leaving Ojai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just moving a little closer to LA. So.
Yeah.
Not leaving Upmarket.
Not leaving Upmarket.
No, that's right. It's funny. You're moving like an hour away, but you're still like in our actual, range of where we service.
Yes.
So, and you're a little further from the studio, but not that far. So
not that far, like 10 minutes further.
Yeah. So we're happy for you, but man, it must be stressful.
It's very stressful. But we've had guests on our other podcasts, realtors, that talk about when the right time to list is. And everyone always says the same thing. It's when you're ready, which I really believe, because the market is so unpredictable and it's never going to be the right time.
Right.
So it's just when you're ready, if everything lines up for you, which it did for us. So we're kind of taking that to use, to like subtract some of the stress for us personally, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
But we got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. You don't always have we leaving money on the table. It's just like, you just got to like bite the bullet and go with
But I think
life.
there's fewer people in your situation than there are just people who,
Yes.
Oh yeah, I want a different house. But, and the one thing that if there is a recession and all that, rates will come down. But I mean, I know, economists are, I don't know. It's like, it just doesn't seem great. The outlook for things. From
and it's just like
lay perspective,
dealing with that like kind of existential, out of your control kind of threat. It's like, how do we as business owners kind of navigate that? And it's really challenging when it's so much out of your control. And just like,
it is. Well, and the good thing for our listeners is we do have all the answers.
So true,
so I think
let's get our notes out with the answers, the cheat sheet.
And I think kind of talking about it here is really. Almost more for us to like kind of not even vent, but to like commiserate and like, I mean, because I don't think anyone has the answer. Because I don't even want to advise people to hoard all your cash or whatever, which we're not doing because we just. And the other part of our great week, we both got hit with pretty big tax bills. So
so creeping up on April 15th, it's always like, well, what's the April surprise going to be this year?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the downside of having our best year ever. We're seeing it now.
It's not setting enough aside and being like, oh wow, we really made that much money. Okay,
all right, wow, congratulations, guys. So again, I don't really know what the advice is, other than I think to continue to do what we always do, and especially what you want to do. You should be doing it when you're busy and when you're slow, is marketing. And
doubling down on your relationships and expanding your services and just staying in front of your customers.
No, and I really advise that. It's been a tough couple, like, I don't want to say tough couple months. I feel like the last month has been, for Upmarket, has been a little tough. Just in terms of like, there's just been, it's the uncertainty of, obviously the world, but then it's just something in our business hasn't been clicking. And it's not in like our relationship with Chelsea or Mark and I or anything like that. It's just, we've just had some issues with clients and with like loyalty. We really have hit over the last few months a big hiccup with our biggest client, which is our big brokerage deal, which effectively is not in place anymore.
Yeah, we're not like the primary exclusive vendor. Yeah,
and within that brokerage, there's another. I don't know. There's another person who's come in and kind of been able to get some of the business, and then there's another person. It's a whole long saga and everything. But suffice to say, I think some of our biggest, individual clients, our best individual, not even best, but like clients that we felt like we had a personal relationship with, that where I would almost like say, oh, they were actually friends, as much as, I bitch about realtors.
Right. There's some of them that we like and maybe would hang out with outside of work. And it's like, you have multi-year like relationships with these people, right? You're like, they know your kids, they know that they're invested in you and we're invested in them.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, oh wait, they have a new listing out there, and that's not our work.
Or they reach out like, oh, we need to schedule this. Oh, let's hold off for a bit. And then it pops, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I thought we were holding off to that. And then it pops up.
Yeah. And so I think it's which, that's business, right? I mean, there's, you think everyone is like super, super loyal, but I think they're not. And even people that you have a relationship with, it just like, they don't always stick.
I know. And that's it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it from our point of view. Cause it's like, we're always like harping on the relationships and getting in front of people and taking them out to lunch and doing all these things and like really cementing that relationship. And when you feel like you have that solid and then you realize it's really not solid. Yeah. And if that's not solid, then maybe nothing is really solid.
Yeah. What is solid? And I think that has, I don't know. I don't want to say shaken me. It hasn't. It's just been a source of frustration. And that whole deal for the last 2 years has been actually a big source of stress and frustration for me personally, because
you've taken a lot of the load of that.
There was just something that was laid out by this brokerage to us, and here's a deal. And it was a handshake deal, which is, probably number one thing you shouldn't actually do is just do a handshake deal. But this brokerage has a couple different offices, and just one of the offices never bought in. But everyone pretended like they were. And then you have the managing broker of one of the offices just lying to my face for years.
Blatantly
and then,
lying. We carved out a way for them to use another media provider on certain services, but then that just all...
It was just, it just was like so not straightforward. And so, it was just super stressful. And so I think that caused me to not pay as close of attention to it because it was a source of stress. And so like, I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, you just, at a certain point, you get exasperated. You're like, I don't even know what I can do here.
Right. We weren't ready to walk away from it, but it was just like, it was a mess.
It was like, it was still lucrative, but it was like so much extra work and stress. And then it just kind of like it just wasn't, it was just very tenuous. And then it was tenuous, and then it kind of fell apart. And
the way it fell apart, I mean, it's just, there was no like discussion, or it's just like, oh, we just kind of found out that we weren't the exclusive provider
I
anymore.
don't know. I felt like I got thrown under the bus personally. And it was, not great. But then within that, there's a lot of agents at that brokerage. And just because we had a deal with the brokerage, we can still work with the individual agents. And we do. We have a lot of them are still our clients. But then some of them there have like, I think they were looking for something a little different. And I understand you want to change it up, especially when we have the market share that we do. It's like, I think there's leverage in not using us,
Yeah, we've talked about that a few times of like, we just have everyone uses us, and this is the upmarket look.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get that there's going to be some drift and some people trying different things. But it feels like there's a bit more drift now than there has been.
Yeah, but I think, and instead of them also saying, hey, this hasn't been working, can we try something else?
Right.
They just go and,
I know. Like,
hire just this one dude. And the nice thing is that like the it's just a guy. And so like, I don't know if he wants to he's trying to scale his business or what, but I feel a little threatened, but like, it's also like he doesn't have the infrastructure we have. So
can't handle the capacity and doesn't have the admin support.
But you can build it. Things. There's a whole, podcast about building your real estate media business.
We should put that out there.
Yeah. And a course actually too. So
let's lay it out for our competitors. It's just like step-by-step process.
Yeah. So I don't know. And Mark and I, we kind of met here at the studio yesterday and worked for a few hours together and like kind of commiserated because, it's the taxes and it's this and that and the other thing. And it's like, we're really talking about how it's hard not to take it personally. Mm-hmm. And you do. And I think you get like, that's the kind of thing. Cause you're just like, oh, whatever, you lose a client. It's not a big deal. I mean, or whatever, just a client's not using you for a shoot or two. It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. But then when it's a certain person, you're like, what?
It's not them. Like, it's, you really do take that personally because they, like you said, they didn't reach out and say, hey, can we try a different video or try this? And they just kind of snuck out the back door, it feels like. And it's like, they couldn't.
And that's awkward because we all live in a small enough communities that you're going to run into them again. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know.
And I do. Yeah. I drop off my kids at ballet. I'm like, oh, there's a client that used to use us that doesn't anymore. And this like wave and like, oh, it's like, it is awkward.
Yeah. But, it's just business, man.
It is. And I feel like we've been at this for, a decade or so now. And it's like, we've been kind of spoiled.
Yeah,
I feel like
totally.
When we both started, there was a big game in town and like that kind of fizzled and you and I kind of took over the market share and took over the space. And we've been fairly insulated because we've been pretty much the only top game in town.
Yeah.
And now we're getting this kind of competitive creep that's like always been there, but it's like it just feels like it's nagging a bit more.
Yeah. And I think it's like it's really just like the and this is the one. I mean, there's always on the fringe a client or two that, try someone else or move on to somebody else. And and there's other people doing really good work. So I mean, I don't like it makes sense. I mean, I get it. But yeah, this one is just I think just the way this whole thing has like gone down has just left a bad taste in my mouth. And then and really, as I'm already kind of like frustrated with realtors is, you're just like, yeah, fuck them all.
Right. Just put them in that basket of just like, screw that.
Yeah. So,
and there is a positive side of this is like, because we were kind of the exclusive vendor and having to be the middleman with all this stuff, like all of the stress of that part of it has gone away, which for you, I think is huge because you were really dealing with that.
Totally.
But then now that it's kind of opened the gates to other people, then the downside is like,
well, slipping. And the funny thing is also, but we keep getting so many new clients and we've gotten clients, high value clients that are probably do even more business than some of these other agents that we're not working with right now. And so and the other thing that Jeff says all the time is like, you need to replace your clients he says it all the time.
There's
18 months,
There should be
you have
like
to have that mindset
and
of
rotating.
like if you have 100 clients, you need 100 new clients within the next 18 months because there is no loyalty. I mean, there is with certain people, but you can't count on the loyalty.
Yeah. And he said that to us so many times. We talked about it in our course and like when we discussed stuff with him and I'm kind of like, it rolls off a bit because I feel like we've been insulated, but now I'm like, that is kind of, that is a good mindset because that keeps you hungry. It keeps you marketing and it keeps you kind of not focusing on what you're losing, but focusing on what we have gained this year. We have gained a couple of amazing clients that have more than made up for it.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to get great reviews.
Yeah.
People love us. It's not like we're on the slope of like downward. Like,
No. And so we have to remind ourselves of that though, because you always want to focus on the misses and or the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Or at least I do.
And it's easy to look at that. You see it on Instagram or whatever, and you're just like, fuck. And it's easy to kind of not spiral, but just stay in that kind of negative space of just like focusing on that and being frustrated instead of like the opposite.
Well, what about the other 56 shoots we did this week? I mean, that's, it's fine. I think we're okay. That's not been great. And then I got, like I've really had a tough time because of a couple things. Chelsea went on vacation. And that was hard.
That was super fun. We barely noticed she was gone, but we got through it.
Oh, barely noticed.
Yeah. And then for 5 days she was gone, or was it 6?
More. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was 6.
Felt like 20.
Eternity. And then within that, Mark also took off for 2 days.
Right.
So
just to spice it up.
So Mark took a little 4-day weekend, and then I had, and then
spring break, man.
And then I had some, I had some family stuff that I had to go deal with too.
That's
so
right.
I had to like drive all the way to Northern California.
That was a super fun week.
Yeah. And this was before the tariffs, so we were actually busy, and like it was just like so many realtors calling, and so many of them are just so annoying, and it was just like right back in the admin stuff, and it was like I was just tilting.
Yeah, he definitely like there were moments where he was just like killing it, getting back to everything, and then I was like on shoots trying to fill in around the edges, and then it's just like then there were a few hours where there was just nothing going. I was just like, oh man, I got to try to call this person. It's just like that whole like scramble of no admin help.
Yeah, and luckily I was just able to be at the computer. I mean, I had to take my dad to some doctor appointments, but outside of that, I was being able to be on the computer. But yeah, it was just like okay, I remember this.
Yeah, it takes me back to like the shooting and calling and texting and the car and just like that madness that we talked about way back on our very first episode. Where it's just like, can't go back to that.
No. But it's a good reminder, and it definitely, makes us appreciate Chelsea even more. So that's
Thank you.
All the little things like that, just happen like in the background. Yeah. And then you're like, oh shoot, we never reached out to the editors for this, or we never said that. This guy doesn't have the Matterport camera for tomorrow.
I'm a terrible admin, so it doesn't really work that well. But then, so it just like gave me like this sense of unease, and then this client is shooting with somebody else now, and this and that. It's like, oh man. It was just...
Well, yeah, and then we had another major hiccup in our business that we weren't kind of expecting. Is like we hired an amazing new photographer that we talked about a few episodes ago, and he was awesome, got him trained up.
I swear, it was like, even with our beloved Nikki and Marco, I think his was the easiest training. Yeah. Like Nikki and Marco are amazing, and they were quick to pick it up, but this guy was just like...
He was just in there. Yeah. He just had the background in the camera stuff, was great with clients, and he was just always on time, and his stuff was just like good right off the bat. We set him free, did 3 or 4 shoots by himself, and then we're like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. And then suddenly we got a message in Slack.
Spoiler alert.
That wasn't so awesome.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Yeah. So basically, like when he, interviewed with us, he interviewed with a bunch of other people. Didn't hear from anyone, liked our job, took it. Yeah. And then 6 weeks later, one of the other companies reached back out with a full-time, proposition for him that he just couldn't say no to. Yeah. So he was just like, oh man, I hate to do this. And he felt terrible because we just invested all this time and money and gear. And then it was like, but it, can't fault him for it, but it was just, frustrating.
You don't want to have hard feelings, but I fucking hate that guy.
Good thing we don't live in a small town and we'll never see him again. Yeah.
No. He's a good guy. You don't ever want to begrudge someone for, taking a better opportunity if it comes up. And something that was more aligned with what he wanted to be doing. And,
exactly.
And give him more hours and everything else. So, like, hey, man, go for it.
Yeah. So, he's a young guy and
sucks for us,
married and all that. So he has,
you just gotta, and that's the thing is you just gotta like, the crazy thing about that is it happened, and then the next day we were able to bring in someone else who had actually just kind of emailed us a week before looking for a job and seemed like a great fit, and we're like, okay, great, we'll hire you.
Right. Like, let's go again. So frustrating to start that training again, but we got into it.
Yeah. So he's working out well, and we're enjoying him and getting him all trained up. So, but still, that's like, it's just you get those blows, and it's just like, at a certain point, it's like, like, how many more of these can I take? And these are not the biggest problems in the world. So,
right. First world problems, right? And it's like the luxury of owning a business, and it's just like
exactly.
What comes
and
with
we
it.
have a successful business, but there's hiccups, and it's like, but you got to remember we have this successful business for now. And I think there's some other stuff that maybe is kind of coming at us as well. And we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. And then we're going to do, a little social media sidebar. I do have some social media news. And then, hey man, action items. Oh yeah. At the very end. Oh yeah. All right. We'll be right back. A lot of changes at Aereo.
Yes, more than normal.
More than normal. They're always changing things, always bettering things. But man, there's been a few big ones, and it's hard to know. Like, I think we just talk about one of them, which is the all of a sudden, just one day we woke up and you could do AI virtual twilights and virtual staging for free.
Like the click of a button within like a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm like, how is this going to work? Come on, let's look at it.
And it works pretty well.
Yeah, I was like, the first one I tried, I literally said, holy shit. It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah. And so there you go. So now included in your Aereo subscription, along with all the other amazing stuff that Aereo does that helps us run our business, scheduling. What else do they do?
Scheduling, invoicing, content delivery.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, all those things. Property websites. Now you can virtually stage and virtually twilight it up. I know every photographer loves virtual twilights. That's the thing I hear more than anything in the groups is I love the look of virtual twilights. But you know what? We make money from them. So
and I mean, just the change to our workflow of not having to send the photos out, get feedback, which ones, wait 24. It's just like, man, it's like boom, boom.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. Aereo.com. Get 15 free bonus listings if you use the code Upmarket. Mark, do you do Pilates?
I have not done it, but my wife does.
Oh, she does. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think my ex did Pilates sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done it. Mm-hmm. But you know what? There's a Pilates studio moving in right next door to our studio.
We should become founding members.
Yeah, we should. Chelsea, you do Pilates, I'm sure.
Sometimes.
You seem that type of person.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little worried about it because I don't know. Is there a lot of groaning?
No.
Okay, that's good. Because I feel like, or loud music or something. I don't know. It just feels like an exercise studio right next.
Type of Pilates.
Yeah,
like a resistance-based training. Kind of quiet.
Anyway, but we're kind of thinking like, are we going to be able to have like a podcast studio because we need decent sound?
Right. I mean, literally behind this wall, right?
Yeah.
They're going in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so today, our neighbor at Gasworks here moved out last month, and then Mark and I just went in to see the space. And you know what we didn't do? A floor plan.
Yeah.
Because we were thinking that maybe we could move next door, which is not next to the Pilates, and maybe be a little quieter.
We're like, is this bigger? What's the layout going to be?
And I cannot believe that we didn't think about a floor plan. And you know what I'm going to do first thing out of here? Go get a floor plan.
If only there was a way to do it instantly. That would be cool.
There is, Mark.
No way.
It's Second Floor app. If you want to do a floor plan and have it delivered instantly, use Second Floor app. That's a great upsell to your clients, and it's super accurate. I mean, it's accurate
crazy
out the
accurate.
wazoo. Yeah.
Especially with the GLA in there. I mean,
I got the GLA square footage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we love Second Floor app. Give it a try. secondfloorapp.com/upmarket, and you're going to get a free month of service.
Nice. I want to see how Reed on a Pilates reformer looks on a floor plan. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. Yeah, I'll wear my Second Floor gear.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a branding session coming up.
Exactly. Secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. Social media sidebar, Mark. We're Upmarket.media across
People
all
know
that
where to
social
find us.
media.
Come on.
Yeah, that's right. Check us out, and we're Upmarket Pod, of course, if you want to know about podcast stuff. And we're gonna have a lot more pod content. I swear. I know I've said this before, and it is very true. We have a plan to beef up the social media. And we have, other stuff.
I just checked the podcast calendar, and we're like freaking stacked through the end of the year. Like
planned out, like most, planned out, like we just planned out 27 episodes.
Yeah, look at us.
Crazy, yeah.
Jeez.
Crazy. So you'll be finding that, and then Chelsea, of course, is Feeding Beautiful. Mark, you have a new Instagram.
Yeah, I'm kind of dabbling with my other account that I kind of use for like more of my landscape underwater stuff. It used to be like my Ventura stock, but now it's Ventura Kiwi.
Ventura Kiwi.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it all one word?
Courtesy of my wife. She came up with that.
Oh,
like, I don't know what's it called. I'm like, what that works.
Ventura Kiwi,
yeah. Kiwi was my nickname when I was, my 20s, 30s.
Kiwi was your nickname?
Yeah.
That was your people.
That's my people, yeah. That's what we get called. That's what everyone gets called, but yeah.
Oh, so people would call you Kiwi?
Yeah. Run into anyone from my 20s. Oh, Kiwi, what's up, man?
Yeah, see, that was back in your freewheeling dreadlock days.
Bahamas, shark riding, way back.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't call you Kiwi. Just Mark.
That's cool. Marcus, I had that for a while too. But
Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. Well, this
whatever
is really,
sticks. So yeah,
fascinating conversations. Right? Yeah. Oh, I have a new Instagram. I'm just teasing it. I just got the handle, and because I'm taking my I'm Tall Reed Fish, but I'm taking that private, or I've taken it private, and I will have a new public Instagram coming up soon.
Look out, world.
Yeah, I know. And I'll have another kind of announcement that's not Upmarket related on this show at some point, which is I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But our big public Upmarket, well, it's not really an announcement, but we kind of gave Nikki the keys to our Instagram because, Nikki had taken over our Upmarket Pod Instagram during PMRE and did a great job. And she and our editor, Bethany, did this great video over the winter at... did we talk about that on here?
Yeah, we did.
I feel like we did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then... and so we're like, well, Nikki really is good at this and has a passion for it. And Chelsea's been doing stuff on here and it's like, but there's not a lot of time. And so we're just like, well, why don't we have Nikki do it?
Yeah. We've been getting all this behind the scenes stuff like we talked about and that, kind of fizzled and yeah.
Yeah. And so it's great. So we just gave her the login and said, hey, go crazy. And she's done a few some really cool videos already.
The timing was kind of funny because it started out with a bang and then she was out of town for a couple of weeks. She got super sick. Then Chelsea was sick and out. And then we're just like, this is really great. And then it kind of stumbled. But now it's I feel like it's ramping back up.
Oh, I totally forgot about Nikki being out for effectively a month. That was great too.
Brutal. Yeah, thanks, Nikki.
Oh yeah, no, I had to go shoot a house because Nikki was out and oh geez, it was horrible.
A house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it was in Camarillo.
And we got a 5-star review out of it.
Yeah,
and you got a shout out. I was like, look at this guy.
Right. Even Reed came out. I know, but I was with the agent. I'm like. I shot the first floor and I was like, hey, good news. I remembered how to work the camera. And I forget that I can't joke that much with the agents because she's freaking out. She's like, you don't really know how to do this? No. I've shot thousands of houses. I just, I'm a little rusty. And even that though, they're like, oh, great. But it turned out fine.
It was great.
Yeah. So, and she's Nikki at Nikki Shoots. Is it underscore Shoots?
I think it is. Yeah.
And Shoots with a Z at the end. Yeah. Nikki underscore.
Nikki with a double K.
Yeah.
And then, so she's doing some stuff by herself. She's collabing some stuff and then just doing some straight up market stuff.
Yeah. So it's cool. I find it fun to have a fresh voice, and Nikki definitely has a voice that is not mine. Right. and which is good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just she's doing stuff I appreciate, but I would never do.
Yeah. And that's good for you and I because it's
she's definitely not shy.
How many years of we got to get on camera. It's she's on camera and she's good at it, and you just can see the results of the interactions on the posts and the reels. It's people dig it.
Yeah. No, and we have a ton of our clients are big Nikki fans now, so it's it's really nice.
Yeah. I feel like it's tipped. There used to be a few Nikki requests and a few Mark requests, but now it feels like there's a lot more Nikki requests.
I don't know. There's still a lot of Mark requests. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's some fun social media news. So definitely, check out Upmarket.media if you're not following us already. Why aren't you? Come on, please. Come on, people. An Upmarket pod. All right. We'll be back. We're going to talk about existential threats to our industry and how we all will not have a business within 3 years. And then after that, we'll do action items.
Yippee!
Well, I was teasing it before at the end of the social media sidebar there about existential threats to our industry, and I am talking about AI.
Hot topic.
Yeah, still, and I think where we just did that Aereo ad, and we obviously are using the AI within Aereo for some of our editing. And I think that's really, there's a lot of advancements in AI editing right now, and it's really kind of exciting actually. And I'm wary, but I'm also want to embrace it. But the stuff we're already seeing with the, turning photos into video is kind of crazy.
Yeah. It started out kind of like, that looks janky, but now it's already in a month or two, just like, wow, that actually looks pretty legit.
Yeah. And I'm of many minds about it. Like scared shitless is one of the minds, because they do look good. And I know agents are freaking cheap, and they can do it cheaply, and, they don't really know the difference.
If they can save $500 and get a video in a couple clicks, then why are they going to spend the money?
Yeah, exactly. But then I'm also intrigued. It can be something that we can utilize to lower our costs for making video.
Yeah.
Just which I don't like. Which lowering our costs is then we're not hiring people to do it. So I don't really love that. But it's business is tough, man.
I feel like there's this going to be these phases of AI that's rolling out, and we're in a phase right now that's kind of benefiting us potentially with cost savings and time to delivery and all these things. But it's the next phases that worry me a bit.
And the tough thing about the photo to video stuff is it's starting to get marketed directly to agents, which is Box Brownie's always been marketing to agents and all that stuff. So that's not really new, but it does, in a way, I think it almost devalues what we're doing for video, because even if they don't want to use those services, I think it just puts in their mindset that it's it's easy and cheap. So,
yes, exactly. That's always been my concern. It's we might still be in there operating the camera or whatever, but it's just the perceived value or the amount of money people are willing to spend on it is just going to start to come down.
Yeah. Potentially. Well, and so I think the one thing, and we went over our terms yesterday, is I think everyone, should be looking at their terms and conditions and making sure that it very much specifies that the client cannot use your copyrighted photos to make video out of.
Yeah. Can't be manipulated by AI or whatever.
Can't be manipulated by AI. Can't be used for a video. All those types of things. Because, even ours now, it's you can't crop the photo. You can't Photoshop it. You can't do this. And, we don't super enforce it. Because I know we have agents who just send some of our stuff to Box Brownie themselves.
Yeah.
And,
go over here. Oh, I'm going to just Box Brownie this. And you're just oh, are you?
Yeah. And, it always is that, do you want to have that conversation or do you not? And then, I don't know.
Yeah, when you hear them talking with the homeowner, that's not a good time to have that conversation. But I feel like some of our agents are aware, and some of them we might want to push back on it, and others we just kind of let it slip a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that we will. And I don't know how to play defense on it as well, because part of me is we should make a video, a social media video for about this stuff and about how you can't do that to our photos.
Yeah. It's we shouldn't ignore it. We should kind of lean into it and talk about it.
And I don't know what the tone of that is, because you don't want to be scolding or you don't want to be harsh or mean or, stern.
You're right. You don't want to be distasteful or turn anyone away, I guess.
Yeah. But. Or seem greedy. I mean, that's the whole thing is I think already there's a sense among realtors that we as real estate media professionals are greedy. Because when in terms of copyright.
Oh,
Chelsea is just back there smiling.
When you're dealing with relicensing stuff or whatever, it's why am I have to pay them?
We just had it. It was it was too windy to do aerials, and we shot the property, I don't know, a few months ago. And the agent's sure, yeah, we can do. Well, I'll just use those aerials, and then we charged them for it, and then they got in a tizzy about it.
Yeah, wait, I have to pay for these.
Yeah, and then basically saying because whether for licensing, whether it's a relicense or a license, we charge the same. It's because you're licensing the photos. That's what you're paying us for.
To use the photos. Yeah,
and then she's well, in my opinion, I should only pay half. And you're well, that's a fantastic opinion,
right? Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and so, but that was a moment where I was let's craft the email. And it's just like, hey, basically like, hey, so typically we charge the same, whether it's a license or relicense. And I'm sorry if there was any confusion. We're happy to discount this one by 50%.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So it's like an educational moment. You're kind of giving a little bit, but also just setting out the guidelines for next time.
Yeah. It's an educational moment where they think that what you do is bullshit and you're overcharging.
Oh, you didn't even have to do anything. You just sent me a link.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is going to be tricky to navigate, in my opinion. So if anyone has any suggestions, send them in. But
yeah, I mean, it's like you're already seeing these services like, just send us your photos and we'll do this virtual tour and we'll do a video and we'll do the social media cut and we'll do this and that. And you're just like,
yeah,
dang.
Yeah. Hands off our photos, bitches.
Yeah. And that's like the defensive move to protect our photos.
Right.
But it's like, is that ultimately a losing battle because there would just be another photographer come along and just be like,
well, yeah,
whatever.
and that's why I think as an industry we need to kind of hold firm, and we all need to like be, and I'm not talking about like collusion here, but I'm just saying, I think it's in everyone's interest to, not allow that,
right? Not just give it away for nothing. Yeah, and
and it's just basically it's copyright law. I mean, you can't, so if your terms and conditions are basically what copyright is, you're just stating the rights that you are given as the copyright holder.
Yeah, if we can kind of have some kind of standard as an industry, which we really lack, then that'll help.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk about that, but it's hard.
Yeah, hasn't really come to anything. But the other thing you and I kind of talk about is like, obviously with the photo to video thing, they're creating things that aren't necessarily there. If you're creating from a still photo to a moving video, you can't see behind that chair, but it creates what's there. So it's going to be interesting to see like how NAR and how all the MLSs like handle slight misrepresentation of a property and all those things.
I feel like you legitimately cannot use those as to market the property. Now you can market a realtor with those. So you could do one of those videos just to be about, hey, I'm, Jane and I'm the best realtor. And here's, videos of my listings. And as long as you're not actively selling that home, I think you can
and you're putting it on social media, not funneling through the MLS. Then that's different.
But I don't think to me, like I would not advise a realtor to use those on the MLS or anywhere where you're actually trying to show what the property is, because you're misrepresenting. You 100% are misrepresenting.
Right. If you have just a little bit of movement in a photo, it's one thing. But if you're moving through an entire room and then seeing behind and around, then it's like there's no way that's not misrepresentation.
No. And I see it even on the aerial shots. I mean, you'll just be like, and it'll like swoop in, and you're like, well, that tree was blocking that, and there's no way they know.
So to me, it's going to be interesting because there's already AI in our industry with Photoshop and AI virtual twilights and all these things. Like where MLS and NAR are kind of going to draw the line with if they draw the line or if they can even keep up with it.
Right. Well, and because you can say, twilight photos are not an accurate representation of the home, but no one can prove what the sky looked like, and the sky changes all the time, and you can't, I think to me it's a little bit of a gray line, but I feel good about where we fall on that line.
Yes, because you're not changing anything about the property itself.
Right.
Or the structure. You're not taking out a power pole or whatever. But
although sometimes you're like, well, this house faces that way. You're never going to get that kind of raking light on clouds. But sorry,
Yeah, so that feels like it's acceptable. But then the next level beyond that, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is always in our interests as real estate media professionals to point that out to our clients if that comes up.
Yes,
and maybe even to get ahead of it and to talk about. And maybe that's the video we do is like, hey, not only should you not do this with our copyrighted photos, but just if anyone is wondering, we do not think that these videos are legal, in terms of how you're marketing a property. Like
it'd be interesting actually to bring someone in from California Association of Realtors or NAR or someone at that level if they're this must be on their radar and they must be like trying to figure out how to navigate it.
Yeah, we should talk about that on our next Real VC episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to take this seriously because it's here and it's only going to get bigger. Yeah. And,
and we talked about it last year, I remember. Yeah. Before we even had the studio, we've been talking about AI and it was always felt like this kind of threat that's coming. But to me this year, it feels like, stuff is like literally rolling out now that it's like changing in real time, and it's like, holy shit, like it's happening.
Yeah. And so, and again, like you don't have to see it as a threat. I just think you have to see what the potential downsides are, but then also try to figure out how can you leverage these technologies to your advantage.
Yeah.
And, you know, like with the photo to video thing, you know, at the beginning of the segment, I was like, well, we could offer it. And then I'm like, well, you can't, because it's, you know, I already talked myself out of it.
Right. Because then we're misrepresenting it. Yeah. And just to offer some kind of product to stay involved.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, I think you would have to really consider for yourself, if you are going to offer that product, is that misrepresenting the property? Because I think we could also be held liable for that. I think.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, as the producers of the content,
if the realtor throws their hands up, oh, I didn't know, and then comes back to you, and then,
I mean, again, we'd have to have a lawyer on to talk about that.
I mean, they have their E&O insurance as the agent, and I feel like if we're working for them, but who knows?
Yeah. That's it. Who knows, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to say we wouldn't be held liable,
right?
But you know.
It's not worth that risk. Yeah.
No. And I mean, I think if there is going to be lawsuits and stuff, it's probably going to be a bigger like class action type of thing, but I wouldn't want, you know, all of our businesses to be named in a class action suit.
Yeah, exactly. No thanks.
It would be the AI companies probably, but I mean, I don't even know. So I'm just speculating. Geez, what the hell do I know?
I mean, it feels like
I just have a podcast.
When you see like these, like at Congress, when they're trying to keep up with social media and AI, and they're trying, it's just like, like the MLS and NAR, like they can't keep up with this stuff. These big like things like turn and move so slowly, and AI is just like so quick that it's just like, I don't know how they're going to navigate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that does contribute to the general uneasiness that I felt recently.
Yeah, sure. I mean, our industry is changing right now. It feels like it's helping us, but it's like, what's it going to be in a few years? It's going to be, just feels like it's going to be different. There's no
and I don't think we have to totally be scared of change. I mean, we really don't. And I think having these conversations, you know, going to PMRE, figuring, you know, talking to other people, hearing what some of the experts have to say. I mean, that's all. I think that's more important than ever right now.
Yes, and also like trying to get to realtor events. Like we went to a local real estate summit here a year or two ago, and like. Staying with the realtors and seeing what they're being told by, they always bring in AI experts every summit or convention, like seeing what they're being told and what the conversations are like to make sure that we're a part of that and kind of up to speed on that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. We just got to stay, you know, try to stay ahead of the curve. And it's hard. I mean, there's these companies with millions and millions of dollars, you know, behind them. And
to me, it also like, makes me want to kind of double down on like the more personalized branded content, getting the agents on video, getting that kind of stuff that can't easily be replicated by AI yet.
Totally.
Like that's the stuff that's going to set people apart. And if everything becomes AI and kind of, then the real kind of organic on-camera content is going to be the win.
Chelsea, the word. Authenticity. Yes.
Be authentic.
That's our favorite real VC word. But yeah, but I think that's what it is like, is really, you're exactly right, Mark, is like double down on the authenticity of the marketing that you do. Making sure that the personality of the realtors can come through and probably just moving to be even more like kind of bespoke and like have, you know, more personalized content for people, I think is probably, that's probably where we need to go.
Right.
You know, while also using the technologies to where we can to enhance our products and our
enhance
workflows
efficiencies and all that. Yeah. But if you're just cranking out photos of boring houses and it's just like something that could be replicated and taken over, then you kind of leave yourself more vulnerable than leaning into the agent and the branding and all that stuff.
For sure. Because if everything we do looks the same, then it's easier for the AI to replicate, you know.
Yeah.
When they've, you know, stolen hundreds of thousands of our photos to train their models.
Totally.
You know, if they all look the same, that's what we get. So.
Yeah. Right. I feel like PMRE will be good this year. There'll be a lot of
who knows what it'll even be in 6 months. I mean, it's not for 6 months. And so it's going to be, you know, it'll probably be different 3 times by then. So, you know, I don't know. I just think that basically all this stuff takes action. I mean, we really got to take action to stay ahead of this. So, which means it is time for our action items. Our action items today are sponsored by Pixel CRM, the only CRM that is made by a real estate photographer for real estate photographers and media professionals. It's an amazing tool
fully fleshed out. You can do so many things with Pixel CRM. I urge you to check it out. It's Pixel CRM. That's PIXL CRM.com. And if you add right after that.com, if you add a little /Upmarket, you're going to be able to get a free month of service to check it out. So check out pixelcrm.com/upmarket.
Nice. Is Chelsea getting in on the action or what's going on?
Oh, she doesn't have to. She's not on camera, so she doesn't have to.
Give me a minute.
Sometimes
it's.
I have one. I already said it. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Bring it.
Because you probably have the same one.
Okay, good.
Review your terms and conditions.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean, everyone needs to look, you need to make sure you have a terms and conditions that, either there's a click box or whatever that you can point realtors to when they're onboarded or for every shoot or whatever. And, consult your lawyer to know exactly, what you need to do for that.
Brilliant.
But have, you can find templates for it. You can have, you probably have ChatGPT kind of help you out on those terms and conditions.
See what some other people that you respect in the industry are doing.
Yeah. But I think you definitely want language in there that relates to your photos and how, or all your stuff, your video, your photos, how it's your copyright and how it cannot be manipulated or repurposed and AI. And I would put specifically AI video in there. So,
at this point you have to spell it out because it's the biggest one. Yeah.
So Mark and I went over ours yesterday. We're still working on the wording, but we're definitely adding in the AI segment.
Yeah.
So that's a big action item. Do it.
Yeah, do it. All right. So mine is kind of circling back to the start of the episode, talking about looking at our competitors, and we're getting this creep of competitors, and just kind of being aware of it, not taking your eye off the ball, but also not obsessing on it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
not staying in that negative space like we talked about. I follow, most of our competitors I know of locally on Instagram.
Sure.
Just cruising through and you're like, oh, there's that listing and I'll send it to you and I'll be like, oh, son of a bitch. And it's just the action item is for me to not focus on that. And I almost want to just unfollow them and because there's nothing, I mean, it's educational to know, I guess, that people are drifting around, but it's not really helping our business. It's not putting me in a mindset.
Right.
Of staying positive and growing and being in a good place. So I'm feeling
I know it's tough. I mean, because we have 5 or 6 different competitors, and it's good to keep tabs on them. But
but I don't want to be in that zone of looking at that and being negative about it. So I'm kind of calling myself out to
Well, social media is tough, man.
Yeah,
I'm a little.
It's that imposter syndrome where you constantly compare yourself. I do it a lot with cooking videos. I'm I'll watch 10 and then I just don't want to make one because I'm everyone else has already done it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
No, I know. It's I don't know. Social media is hard.
It is. It's the doom scrolling and all of it.
Yeah. And and I try to get inspired from it. I mean, on our Upmarket Pod account, which is the one I kind of run. Quote unquote run. I'm following a bunch of real estate media creators all over the country or in Canada and everywhere. And it just you get jealous, you get inspired, you get bored. You get you're
why aren't we doing that? Oh, this is cool.
Exactly.
We should totally be doing that.
Yeah.
So it can feed oh, Nikki, let's try this or let's do that. So
and that's the best way to use it, right? But sometimes you can fall down that. Oh man, they're way more successful. Hey, look at that branding shoot they did. We can't even do any branding shoots.
Or look how sophisticated this looks, or that. You're just
And the worst part is then you look at the time and you're like, wow, I just wasted an hour of my life going down this road.
Yeah.
And it's important, just on a personal note for me, I have a teenage daughter and when she has a cell phone and we're trying to navigate time on the cell phone and talking about all this stuff with social media. And it's just so it's good to just reflect back on me because then your kids see you on the phone all the time. And it's that whole thing of just living in your phone and being distracted. And it's just
modern life.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 action items. Look at that.
Wow. 2. Wow.
So going off of that, one is take 1 week off of social media.
Whoa.
Do it for a straight 7 days and try to regroup and regather your thoughts on being creative. Because honestly, just taking that break makes a huge difference. Just step away and not see that stuff every day. Because even just seeing one video can totally change your creative flow. So just removing yourself for a week and being really present and kind of just seeing what inspires you outside of social media will bring back that authenticity to what you are able to create. So that's one.
Get out of that comparison game.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Just get out of your head and just get back to being present in what you're doing.
Too bad you weren't on camera. That would have been a good reel.
Sorry. Well, the reactions of your faces will work.
Yeah. Bethany can make something out of it.
And the second one is maybe make a list of all these AI programs that are out there right now that are our competitors. Make a list of everyone you've seen or do some research, write them down, and familiarize yourself with them so that you can keep up and you are in the loop, because the worst thing you can do is not have the knowledge with this massive growing technology that's happening in our business. So I think just making that list and making yourself aware of what's out there and what's possible right now is really important.
All right. A lot of action.
Double whammy from Chelsea.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks, Mark, Chelsea, and thank you, Reed.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. We got a lot more coming up. So we are back in the saddle at Upmarket Pod. A lot of exciting stuff happening. So we're here for you, the listeners. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. We always, appreciate you all so much. And we're going to be back real soon with a new episode.
Yeah. Fun
Thanks,
stuff
everybody.
coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. Thank you so much for listening, and we really hope you listen to the next one too. In the meantime, our wish for you is to not have to shoot any Friday night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.